welcome to another episode of They Said We Said. We're very happy to be back with you guys. It's been a few weeks, but I'm here with our Team Ham Solo and Loke 7. Guys, what have you been playing lately? Tell me what you've been doing. Catch me up to speed.
Let Ham go first so he can brag about his premium editions.
Yeah, so I've been playing Forza, Horizon 5.
Forza.
Horizon 5 for all the people that are going to get butthurt with the way that I pronounce it. It's Forza. I'm playing Forza Horizon 5, and it's fantastic. I am in the top 1% in that game, which is pretty dope to me. I didn't get really into the last Forza at all because I've never really been into England that much, and driving around there was just kind of dull to me. And I decided to get the pre-ordered edition for this one so I could play a little earlier. I haven't got big into a car game since Gran Turismo 2 on the PlayStation.
Wow.
So I'm really excited.
Not even Need for Speed Underground? Nothing?
Like I'm talking about like kind of fairly close to a simulation. Need for Speed Underground is as far away from the simulation as possible.
Come on. Forza is also an arcade game.
It is very arcade. It is very arcade, but there is a lot of like just so much content and so much races, and you do have to drive fairly well. You have to drive almost like you would drive in motorsports, but there are unrealistic avenues to it to where you are like jumping off of a ramp or something like that. But still, the driving mechanics themselves are very similar, and the way you can tune your car and everything like that is very similar to a simulation type game. Much more than a Need for Speed where you just slap on the part and it makes your car look, gleaming. And I mean, it's much more of a looking kind of game than like a Need for Speed is much more of a kind of a momentary game compared to.
You know what? Let's just go back.
No, I'm talking about like the old school. I'm talking about the old school, like Underground and like
Underground 2 as well.
Dude, Underground 2 is dope, and I'm not slandering any of these games. I loved these games. Midnight Club Dub Edition, like those games were absolutely fire. But like the last time I got into like where I was doing like hundreds of races or like a ton of different races, I'm already at 101 races in Forza 5. And the last time I put that amount of dedication is pretty much what I'm trying to say is Gran Turismo 2.
All right. So you've been playing Forza only?
As of the last few days, yes. I finished The Last of Us 2 as well. So I got both 1 and 2 done. I'm working on Kena. I played some Riders Republic.
Or Kena?
I don't care. I don't. I don't care. It is what it is. You know what I mean. But there's been some other games too. I clocked what's that game? Hellblade as well.
Ooh,
that was really
game.
Mentally numbing because the puzzles and then towards the end of the game, it's just so spooky and it's weird. Makes you kind of like, makes you feel like something's crawling on you, man. Like you just constantly like looking around, especially when it's late at night. You're just like, man, where are these echoes coming from? This is unnecessary.
And you played it late at night?
Yeah.
You played it late at night?
Yeah, I ended up playing it late at night. Matt Likes Games happened to be in the party because he wanted to hear my reactions.
He was holding your hand. That is so cute.
Guess, shut your goddamn mouth, man. Oh, man. Ugh. Anyways, move on. Loke, your turn. You.
I finished the main campaign for Grid, and I finished the first DLC as well. Giving that a break until I get on Forza. I'm sure I'm gonna play the rest of the other DLC for Grid. Fantastic racing game. Right now I'm playing Formula 1 2020. And Tekken, as usual.
man, I'm finna you up in Tekken next week.
We'll see.
Are you ready?
We'll see.
Are you ready?
I'm done talking, Ham. I'm done talking about
Pull
this.
out
I'm
the
just
sword.
waiting for the link. Sword in Tekken. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Whatever, man. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll see you on Friday. Kalelo, what do we have this week?
I'm gonna cut you.
Well, this week, I was really surprised. I want to know your thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy, microtransaction-less. What do you think about that, Ham?
No microtransactions. I think everybody can live happy. That's the way I look at it. I mean, I haven't even purchased this game, but everybody absolutely loves it from what I see on social media. Loke right here has clocked it a couple times. He loves that game. I haven't currently purchased it yet because I am really worried about how long the game is. I know once I beat it,
short.
Oh yeah, exactly. So like, if the game's fairly short, I'm nervous to pay full price for it, and that's just me. I mean, like, I've been a gamer for years. I have no problem waiting for a game to drop price and pick up something else that's going to actually take a lot of my time in the meantime. Something like long-term, like Forza or Grand Theft Auto is about to come out. That's going to be nuts. But
oh my God.
But anyways, back to what I was talking about. Guardian of the Galaxy, no microtransactions. Like I said, everybody can sleep at night easy, knowing that they don't have to worry about this game digging into their pockets some more. You don't have to worry about the kiddos coming up saying, there's this awesome skin I want to buy. You don't have to worry about none of that. You buy this kid and just tell the kiddo, or you go and enjoy it for yourself or get it for a gift for somebody, so they don't have to worry about purchasing anything additional for the game. That's fire.
For me, I wrote the review for the cross players plug. I wrote the review for the cross players about Guardians of the Galaxy, and I highlighted the apparent ignorance in the gaming community about the whole microtransaction thing. The reason people are shocked is because Square Enix published the Avengers. The Avengers was full of microtransactions. The problem is the developers for the Avengers and the developers for Guardians of the Galaxy are completely different. The publisher is the same, but the developer is different. And people are paying too much attention to the publishers and not the developers. Personally, the reason I pre-ordered Guardians of the Galaxy is because I knew who the developers were, and I knew about the previous work that they did, and I haven't been burned by that. I would just like to say to whoever's watching this, give more attention to the developers and not just the publishers. The same way everyone knew that the guys that made A Way Out are making a new game at EA, most people were like, you know what? I'm still gonna buy that game, because everyone knew who the developer was. You know, they had faith in that developer.
Hazel Light, shout out.
Yeah. So I think people need to switch the way they look at games. Don't look at publishers, look at developers. They're the ones who actually make the games. Publishers are the guys who fund and try to monetize. The developers are the ones who make the games. They're the players on the pitch.
Publishers are only printing the books. They're not making the game.
That's it. If this was like basketball teams, developers is like your LeBron James is and whatever. They're the ones who actually put the ball in the hoop. They're the people we should be focusing on, and not publishers. Now, about Guardians of the Galaxy specifically, yes, Ham, that game is pretty short. And the way I grade that is because I'm someone that plays single player games very slowly. I like to smell the roses on the way. And in a week, I clocked the game, taking my time. And then when I knew what was happening and I started skipping cutscenes, I clocked it in a day. And then I clocked it in like the next day after that on the highest difficulty. So yeah, it's not very long. If you want a super long game and stuff, it's not very long. But
yeah, and you were telling me
space.
You were telling me you're like, the way you play games, I don't think you should dive into it
Yeah,
too quickly.
yeah. The way you play games, it'll be ridiculous. But there's a space for games like this because let's be real, Ham. Now that you've played Senior Sacrifice, you could probably clock that again in a day.
Yeah, easily. I clocked
But that doesn't
3/4
remove-
of that game in one day.
But that doesn't take from the value of the game.
No,
Can
no,
we agree
not
on
at
that?
all. No, not at all. I mean, like, I just know my style of playing games, and I like to
Yeah.
blitz games. So I have a harder time seeing like such a higher price on it because I know the way I'm gonna play it. If somebody is just very casual and they play, 1 hour at a time, maybe 2 hours at a time,
Which is
a
me.
crazy day is 3 or 4 hours. That's crazy. Like,
And-
if that's you, then
That's
this
me,
is
literally.
a great value. This is like $60. You can't beat that for that kind of game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially for especially for the reviews and stuff that it got, because I downplayed the hell out of that game. I thought it was gonna be like Avengers, even though Avengers had a dope story. The downfall of it was the things that it tried to implement that it wasn't ready for. So
Yeah,
it ruined.
yeah.
So,
And as
so
far-
it tore itself apart essentially.
As far as downplaying the game, dude, I have to downplay all this talk about game of the year. Everybody needs to pump the brakes, okay? Relax. Guardians of the Galaxy is not game of the year material, in my opinion. It's not. It's a
One
very
thing that
good
we're
game.
definitely going to have to do, you guys, is put that link to your article in the comments
Description.
below. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
because
nice.
I know that I'm interested in reading that myself as well.
Awesome.
Moving right along, Far Cry 6 is yet more Far Cry. Is this a bad thing, Luke?
From the sales, I would say that it's not a bad thing. Apparently, Far Cry 6 crushed it on launch. So, considering the game cycle or the development cycle of Ubisoft, I would say it's good news. It's good news because everyone seems satisfied with it. The people complaining about it are still playing it, did not ask for refunds. Yes, just more Far Cry, I think video games, I think that the gaming industry needs games like Far Cry the same way like Hollywood needs your cheesy Hollywood movies, your cheesy action flicks,
Yeah.
Everyone knows what Far Cry is.
You know what
As
you're
they
getting.
jump into it, yeah, it's like a comfort food or comfort game. You get in, you play it for like 2-3 months maybe, and then move on. No one is expecting a masterpiece. No one is expecting something that's going to blow your mind. But for the people that love Far Cry, which is hundreds of millions of people, they're getting more Far Cry. It's the same engine, maybe a different story, and everything's fine. For them, that's fine. And I honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing. My problem is when everyone sees Far Cry and thinks, let's do that. That's when it becomes a problem. But Far Cry on its own, I think it's fine for the people that still like it.
So before I answer any of this, thank you, Cal. Before I answer any of this at all, I just want to ask you real quick, Loke. So, what do you think about people talking about Halo in Far Cry implementations?
What do I think?
Like, have you seen the trailer where you're going to like
Yeah,
outposts in Halo?
I saw. After we spoke yesterday, I actually went to look at it. It looks like an interesting premise. I think with Halo, it might be a bit different because of the traversal mechanics. And also, I'm not sure if the outpost thing works multiplayer or only offline. Like for the campaign.
So in other words, what
Because-
you're saying is there's a lot to be answered still with the game actually launching instead of speculation. Got it.
For example, if it was multiplayer, I think that would be amazing. Like hooking up with your Spartans, like boys and girls. I'm not sexist. boys and girls, let's get to it. And
Right.
then it's just mayhem to take over that outpost. And then if you have like a global tracker for all outposts for the red team and the blue team, oh my God, can you imagine? Remember classic Battlefront?
Yes. Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely. I
can you
played
imagine
hours
that on
of
Halo?
that.
Exactly.
It was like a big freaking battlefield out there with like
Now
hundreds of fighters.
That's the type of situation, Ham, that you could have me playing an online game daily. Remember when we were talking about that last night, and I was like, I don't see there's the little thing that gets tickled in people's brain for online multiplayer games. I don't have it, but I'm thinking about it right now. If there was an actual global sphere, and sorry, not global, but Halo sphere, and then we're taking out outposts that actually matter on the sphere to see who wins. Oh my goodness, that would be.
You know what we need to do is
me.
just to kind of scratch your multiplayer itch, possibly. Maybe we should download Battlefront and get Lil Satan in the game with us. Yeah,
because Battlefront have those type of mechanics.
It does. It still kind of has a classic mechanic of where it's a heavily densely populated area of like NPCs with a mixture of other like of other like PvP players.
But can you squad up?
Yes.
Can you squad up?
Yes. So it's kind of like so it's kind of like Battlefield in the way of like you select your area of where you're gonna be dropping your body. Like you can select the person. Like I'm following Loke. I'm a grab Loke because I died.
The jump on. I'll be the
jump on top. Yeah, and now everyone's jumping on top of you, and we're trying to like crash a certain area and take it over.
That would make me get Battlefield.
The
one thing
it's on Game Pass.
Made me disinterested. It's on Game Pass?
Well, it's on EA Play. Right. So it's on EA Play, which is part of Game Pass Ultimate.
Game Pass. Yeah. So, all right, I'll just download that.
But anyways, I need to get back to this question because I haven't answered it at all.
Yeah.
So Far Cry, the question was like, is it a problem that it's more Far Cry, right? Don't play Far Cry if you don't want more Far Cry. Come on now. Like, I mean, I think the game was fantastic. And yes, it does have some aspects to it that may be repetitive. But you know what Far Cry is. There's a reason it's called Far Cry 6, not Far Cry New Development. Like it's.
Well, they did have New Dawn. I don't know.
well, they also had Primal, which that was different as well. It had animals and stuff like that in it.
The concept was the same.
But yeah, the concept was the same. You know what you're getting when you're getting Far Cry. I really like what you said earlier about it being kind of a comfort game because that's exactly what it was for me. I remembered what I kind of did last in Far Cry 5, and I was able to apply that with new types of skills and being able, like there was some parts of the game where I was like, this feels a little too easy. I'm just kind of running in there and just murdering everything. But while I'm saying it's too easy, I'm heading to another outpost. It's like, so I'm not like bored of it. I'm not bored of it.
You did not uninstall it.
I didn't get
start another game. You kept playing it.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, just like a lot of other people, I'm maybe having a few complaints of it, but I didn't uninstall it. I'm still playing it. I'm on a second run in it. Like, it's a great game. It's really fun. It's really pretty.
It's a good game. It's not great.
I mean, I think it's a great game for the time. Okay? Like, and hear me out. What I'm trying to say is it launched within the first year of the new consoles being out. Yeah. Ubisoft has been at bat this entire time, it feels like, while all these developers are like, no, I gotta delay my game a little bit longer. Oh, no, we're not quite ready yet. Let's put a year hold on Halo. Like, all this crazy stuff is happening. CD Projekt Red is, screwing up with Cyberpunk.
Stop it. Just leave CD Projekt Red in the corner. Leave it in the corner.
This has nothing to do with CD Projekt Red. What I'm trying to say is, during this whole time of all this madness, COVID and shipping, shipping issues and Consoles not being able to come out in certain, areas as frequently as people like. Ubisoft has been consistently putting out games, and that's one thing I can give them really good credit for. Yeah, a lot of their games are very similar to their previous games, but you got to remember, this is also the very first year of this console generation, and for a game like Far Cry, I felt like that game was fantastic for the time.
Lastly, I just wanted to say, this whole sequel complaining thing, for me, the reason why I can't really bash Far Cry 6 or Far Cry 16 that much is because I play Tekken 7. And I'm just saying, if you go all the way back, like the real jump was from Tekken 2 to 3, if you're being real. From 3 all the way up to 7, it's been like one or two little things that have been tweaked or added in. And I also play Football Manager 2020. Been playing Football Manager since 2005. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. I know I will do it if sometime, someone is going to pull up a video 5 years from now and be like, look, he said this, But I'm just saying right now, I'm very self-aware about the whole sequel thing. And I love Tekken to bits and pieces. I love Football Manager to bits and pieces. So if people still love Far Cry exactly the way it is, when it gets to Far Cry 10, hey man, enjoy.
We talked a little bit about Forza Horizon 5 Ham. I know you've been playing that game quite a bit. What are your thoughts and impressions?
So much fun. And really the best thing to me is just how beautiful and how easy it is to get around in that game. That is a big thing for me. I really liked how they kind of walked me into figuring out how the fast travel and stuff like that worked. One thing that I highly recommend for anybody that's taking this game, fairly serious, if you think that you're really going to get into Forza Horizon 5, buy the treasure map. If you do not get the treasure map, it's going to be a lot harder. But if you're just getting the game just to try it out or just to do some races casually, then you're fine. But if you're actually trying to get in there and, really complete the game, do some damage, get the treasure map. It'll save you a ton of time. You'll get around the map really fast. You'll figure out things that you need to get knocked out. But the game is visually extremely impressive. Something that I haven't really played yet. Far Cry 6 was really visually impressive as well. But this took. Yeah. I really enjoyed the way that Far Cry 6 looked. But with Horizon or with Forza Horizon 5, I feel like it takes another step. And it's just like, man, I thought Far Cry was dope. This is insane. Like the textures of the rocks, the water when it splashes onto the vehicle, the way that you can, I like to spin out pretty much at the end of every race just to kind of make my car go sideways, because they kind of do this really cool photo shot. And they've done that for many of the Forzas, where you go through the finish line and then it kind of gives you a slow motion shot, and it just looks better. It just looks better in all aspects compared to Forza 4, and Forza 4 was no slouch on the way it looked. The game looked fantastic. I just wasn't personally into it that much because I'm not really. I think England is really bland. I'm just not really that kind of guy. I don't like to. Now, I just don't really like. I don't like England like a lot of other people do.
Oh no.
But
no.
But driving around in Mexico with the sand all over the place and the water on every other turn, I mean, it really brings jungle, desert, and mountain together really freaking well. Yeah.
Okay, about the England bashing. Listen, you're American. Of course, you're gonna prefer your neighbors in Mexico to England.
Oh,
Of
well,
course.
I don't even know how you go that direction.
You
I
are
don't even know.
biased. You are biased. Just admit it and let's move on.
Okay, fine, sure. I'm a bias.
I have two questions for you.
Yes.
The soundtrack of Forza Horizon 4 was mind-blowing to me, to the point where I've got it on playlists. I've bought some of those albums on Spotify as well. The soundtrack on 4 is amazing. I want to know what the soundtrack's like on 5.
I'll tell you, Matt absolutely loves it. I thought it was okay, but it's not my type of music. And seeing that I can turn on Spotify while playing that game is like the perfect third-party app to have with your video game. Because I don't know, I've always been like that ever since I transferred from PlayStation 2 to Xbox. I've always been about listening to my own music.
Here we go.
No, this isn't a PlayStation bash or anything like that. This is just flat out, I like listening to my music that I like. I'm paying X amount a month for Spotify. I want to use it. So, so being able to tie that into the game, and then also you can get other third-party apps like radio stations. So if you like to listen to your own type of radio or whatnot, you like to listen to your in-town radio, you can get that on like an Xbox app or whatnot. Turn it on while you're playing the game. It's just like you're driving. It's just like you're really freaking driving. It's awesome.
Okay.
Except
so my second
like
question. Okay. My second question is, can you change the camera to inside the cockpit? And if you can you see the driver's like hands on the wheel?
Yes.
And is it good quality from the inside?
Clean as a whistle.
Okay.
Clean as a whistle. And it's really cool, especially when you go into like the like the cutscenes and stuff like that. I like not the cutscenes, but when you're driving with, there are some cutscenes, yes. Like especially when you get like cars out of like the secret garages, and there is some pretty dope stories with it too that teach you about the cars and stuff like that and the history behind it. Like I had no idea that the Ford Escort was one
rally legend.
Yeah. It's a rally legend.
You didn't know that?
Well, let me finish. Damn, you ready to run over me? I ain't even finished my thought. But I had no idea that the Ford Escort was one of the only vehicles to finish a race, and in every single car that finished that race was an Escort or was a Ford of some kind. And it was in Mexico City, and that's where it came up with the name Escort, because it was like the perfect escorting vehicle. Like I had no idea about that, so I just really liked the history lessons that it brought with that game. But the story pieces about some of the cars and just parts of the actual story of the game where you don't really get money, you just are learning things about it, are really cool. I really like it.
All right, cool. My take on Forza is
Forza.
It's I've only been seeing screenshots because I didn't get the premium deluxe edition. Whatever. And I've just been seeing screenshots and video clips on Twitter, on Facebook.
Sorry about that.
Instagram. It's fine.
Spam.
Basically, I just think it looks very pretty. I'm curious to see how it drives, but it looks fantastic. Can't wait to actually play it. Basically, for this month, it's just gonna be Forza and GTA. I'm just gonna be jumping between those two, just Forza and San Andreas. You know, just
same.
One of the two. Yeah, that's all I got for Forza.
Well, what are you guys thinking about the partnership between Microsfft and Sega? I love Sega, so I'm personally
that came
excited.
out of nowhere. Okay. Okay, Luke, you go first on this one. I'm kind of curious. I haven't heard you say a peep about this.
If I could make like a headline, I would say, everyone calm down. You know, because the partnership is
Facts.
between Sega and Microsoft. And from the excerpt that I read, because there's been lots of little publications, we should probably put in the description below. I'm gonna send you the link. There was an official release by Sega of Japan. That's the one that I read.
Okay.
And from what I read, this has more to do with the Azure software that Microsoft has, and all this talk about, all this talk about Sega being bought out by Microsoft. For me, it's pretty far-fetched, because if a partnership with Azure and Microsoft means that Microsoft's going to buy them out, that means Microsoft's going to buy out PlayStation as well.
Right.
Because
they have the same thing.
and Microsoft already have the exact same agreement. So I think everyone needs to calm down. I'm not saying it's impossible for Microsoft to buy out Sega. It is possible, but this is not a thing that people should hold on to and say it's definitely happening because X. No, they have one thing will not automatically lead to the next, in my opinion. As far as the partnerships concerned.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was curious because you mentioned the Azure database, and I know that has to do with like images and things like that. What's their goal with partnering with Microsoft?
Cloud gaming.
Basically everyone has caught on to the whole idea of cloud gaming, because everything is cloud based now. YouTube, Netflix, most of Microsoft's software, your Office and OneDrive, all this, almost everything is now cloud-based, okay? Anyone that's not on the cloud is still in 2010, basically. So what happened is PlayStation had their own version of the Azure, and that did not work out. So they basically just decided, okay, Microsoft are the best guys doing it on the planet Earth right now, so we have to work with them. Otherwise, they would have gone to work with anyone else, basically. But they had to do it with Microsoft because there's no one doing it better than Microsoft right now. So Sega is doing the same thing. That's all that's happening right now. They're just positioning themselves in a situation that if tomorrow they want to put Yakuza on whatever other platforms on a cloud system, then that's an option for them. You know, that's the only thing that's happening right now. That's all.
Are there any other companies that are doing that type of partnership with Microsoft?
I'm sure they are. It's just that no one's really keeping track that much, because it's just a company X, company Y. I mean, little. We're talking about billions here, but little $1 billion companies, no one really cares about. But $100 billion companies, that's when people are like, whoa, what just happened there? There's an SEC filing, but by Sega. This is serious, you know? But if some mom and pop, no disrespect to all the mom and pops that are worth billions, some mom and pop worth $7 billion does deal with Microsoft for Azure or whatever, no one really cares. No one's reporting on that because no one's clicking on it, you know? If Sega does a deal with Microsoft, everybody's clicking on that.
It has the potential of becoming a monopoly, but I think you said the golden words earlier, is that if this is Sega's only option to partner with someone who knows what they're doing and can do it best and can give them the service level that they, they're a huge company. They have expectations that they have to fulfill, to their customers, to their clients. If Microsoft
as well.
can do that, that might be a good argument in SEC.
All right, so So my kind of thoughts on it was, I mean, it's nothing to get up in arms about, nothing to get too excited about. Can Microsoft? The real question for me is, how are you leveraging this deal? That is the real question of how is it gonna work out for Microsoft gaming wise is how you're leveraging the deal to get excited and say, oh, well, they're going to buy Sega. I'd be really taken back if Sega just cut off everybody and said, I'm going with Microsoft only. I think that would be really ambitious. And I mean, it wouldn't be like the most surprising thing in the world, but like, I just don't see that happening. I literally think that, what's up?
At worst, I think Sega would guarantee day one on Game Pass. At worst.
Yep. I think that's the closest that you're gonna get.
I'd be so excited about that.
Would you?
Well, to see, we'll see.
My Sonic on Xbox, or is that what we're talking about here?
I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, keep in mind they are talking about working on some super game or whatnot. So that was like their big headline part to this article was like they're working with Xbox and they're also working on a super duper game. And it's like, I feel like what they mean when they say super game is they mean like maybe something that can run at like 4K 60 on the cloud or something like that. Like, because I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot of super game in 720 or 1080 on a phone. You know what I'm saying? But like,
yeah.
But like, if you could say, hey man, like you can get 4K 120 or 4K 60 or even 4K 30, like on littler devices, like on the go, that's amazing. And to be able to compress it enough for it to be able to go through the internet fast enough to be able to play. I think that would be as close to a super game as you can kind of get. And then to like put a heavy name like Sonic on top of it would turn that into what they called it, a super game.
It closes the generational gap because, you know, you have all the kids who are already asking for the Xbox. I don't know what the prices look like for Xbox compared to PlayStation, especially going into the holidays. But when you start talking Sega, when you start hearing Nintendo, that brings up so much nostalgia for the people with the checkbook, the parents, the grandparents who are going to be buying these games, and they're going to go with something that they know where they can say, look, my kid gets what they want. They get the new games, they have a great system, and we get to play all the classic games that I used to play. We're all going to be playing this, you know, on Sundays. So I think that's huge. I think people are underestimating that because what have you seen? What I've seen in the last few years is Nintendo and Sega trying to compete with Xbox and PlayStation by releasing those little mini consoles, you know, with all of the throwback games, and
those are usually third party. Those are usually third party consoles, though.
Yeah, but see, people eat that up through the holidays. They sell them out, and then Nintendo and Sega are sitting here saying, we've got to get on the bandwagon. I mean, I don't hear anything about Nintendo, but Sega is definitely ahead of the ball.
Yeah, for me, the big move, like if I was in those meetings and I wanted to shake up the gaming world, the big move I would try to get is I would go to Sega and say, give us all the Persona games on Game Pass, and Persona 6, make it exclusive to Xbox for a year.
Oh my
God.
Stop it. Stop it with this exclusive, this timed exclusive stuff is stupid. I hate timed exclusive games.
Dude,
they have a lot of strings to pull on because like you mentioned, like this is a big company. This is a lot of resource and time and people that they're going to have to devote to Sega. If they're going to guarantee a service level commitment to this company, that's huge. They're going to want something in return.
Yeah. And Ham, I know you don't like the whole 1 year exclusivity thing, but answer me one question. Don't give me a long sentence or give me a story. Just answer me yes or no. If Microsoft were to get a deal with Sega to put all the Persona games on Game Pass and then get if they were to get the Persona 6 on Xbox exclusively for 1 year, are you telling me that's not going to get a reaction?
Oh, that's gonna most definitely get a reaction.
Here's my question: is that
We're in the
reaction going to
reaction
matter
age.
with all of the supply chain issues that we're seeing? You might have the demand for it, but are they going to have the supply?
Well, if you're
Game
talking about
Pass
a
is just
video game,
download.
yeah, I was gonna say with a video game, you're talking about either download or digital purchase. So
That's it.
there is no supply chain
Well, what I'm
issue
saying-
with the video game.
And also, the statistics proving that 88% of Xbox gamers are digital. Most, it's not like the PlayStation market where it's the opposite, where 92% of PlayStation gamers are physical. With the Xbox, it's the opposite. Most Xbox players are digital. So that's not.
I'm
gonna be a
mostly
problem.
digital. I'm like 99.9% digital.
But see, I'm
Yeah,
thinking
but that's
about
by
you're,
choice, though.
Yep.
are you talking about moving the
Sorry?
needle to Xbox, to Microsoft, to buying more Xbox? Because my thought is here, it definitely missed this season, right? This holiday season. And if they have a 1-year exclusive, I don't know when that game is expected to drop, but they're looking at next holiday season.
No. There's sales data proving this whole thing about you can only drop big games in December. It's a myth. It doesn't work. You can drop Ghost of Tsushima 2 in March and it's gonna do numbers. It doesn't matter.
Well,
It
that's my
does not
point.
matter.
Is at this point, let's say they do drop a new game in December. If you don't already have the Xbox, you have the want for the Xbox now, but are they going to be able to put the Xbox on the shelf? That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? Like, great, they're
Oh, you're talking about
what
the
if they do
consoles,
drop
not
a
the
game?
games.
Yeah, because if we're talking about moving the needle, if you're on Xbox, you're already on Xbox. You're only getting cherries on top of cherries at this point. If
Okay.
there's another game that's going to drop, if they drop all the Sega games on Game Pass,
Let
you've
me
already got
answer this question. So, yeah, do you want a Series X as an Xbox player? Yes, you do. Do you want a Series S as an Xbox player? Probably.
Not really.
But
Not
well,
really.
I'm
But
just
okay.
saying, like if you're like needing a console, like my cousin was needing a console, and he just didn't want to look around for a Series X. He just got the Series S, and he's happy. He's happy with it. He's cool with it.
Okay.
But anyways,
Okay.
but he's also not like a performance like gotta have 4K everything. He doesn't care. He's just a game.
He's not Ham Solo.
No, he's not. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, even for the people that don't quite have the console yet, at the end of the year, what Xbox is trying to implement is cloud gaming on a level where it can be reached on even at an Xbox One. I'm in the I'm in the, what is it called, the whole thing, the insider program or whatnot for Xbox, and I turned on the Ascent through the cloud on my Xbox One, and it ran just as fast as it ran on my Series X.
Did it
I've
look
got one
as
more
good?
question.
It looked, I mean, like, you gotta keep in mind, it's only able to run at like 1080, 60
Okay.
on it. So, I mean,
No,
I thought
regardless of frames.
oh, you're talking
Regardless
about
of
like
frames.
stability. You're talking about
Yeah.
stability. The stability on it was fairly well. It was just as stable on it when we were playing. So I'm not sure if I played the right game to kind of try that out on, because the Ascent kind of has its own online issues. So.
Yeah, issues.
So what I'll probably do is I'll probably like throw on like see if I can throw on a Madden on there, or throw on something that's already fairly grounded. Like, hey, yeah, I'll throw on Forza Horizon 4. I'll throw that on there and see how well it runs. It ran great on the cloud on my Series X, but the cloud isn't for my Series X as much as it's for Xbox One and for people with low-end PCs and One X and tablets and stuff like that. So I'll definitely have to try it on my Xbox One, my original one with the big brick power supply.
Damn.
I'll have to give it a try on that one, and I'll also give it a try on my One X in the bed.
Okay, I've got one more question for you before moving on to the next topic, Cam. So, I've seen you play your Xbox app on the PC. Let's pretend, I don't own an Xbox One. I don't have, even one of the legacy Xboxes to where I can access the cloud. And they drop something huge like all the Sonic games are now available on Game Pass. Could I, as a consumer, go to my PC and purchase an Xbox app and use that as my Xbox, or do I have to have the
Yes.
console?
Yeah,
Do I
yeah,
have to
Yes.
have it on the shelf?
yeah,
No.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. You can
That
play
is
it on your
awesome.
PC. You can play it on your phone. You can play
huge.
it on your tablet. I
Tablet.
mean, that's the whole point of
Huge.
that. That is literally the whole point of the cloud system, and that's
Wow.
why people are blowing up this Sega thing so much, is because they think they're gonna be exclusive to us now, and it's like,
Oh no.
chill out. Like, what they're trying to do is find a good way to implement their cloud games, and what we want to do with said partnership is figure out something positive out of it. We're not saying, hey, we're taking you and you can't give anything to anybody else anymore. No, it's like it's more like, hey, you want to use us to get this? Well, hook us up with a little bit of this, and we don't have any problem with you using us to work with other people as well.
And that's where competition comes into play, because then you have, people like PlayStation looking from the outside in saying, how can we partner with Sega? How can we negotiate with Sega to also get a piece of the pie? I would love to see that happen.
Great question though, Liz,
No.
because I think a lot of
PlayStation
people
and
don't.
Sega.
Anyways, like I said, great question though, Liz, because I think a lot of people, especially a lot of people that aren't on Twitter all the time, a lot of people that don't watch every single thing about the consoles, some people want to know how can they play the games, and what's the point of me getting this trolley candy and getting a free month of Xbox Game Pass? Like, what's the point of this? Well, the whole point of it is because you can play it literally anywhere. So if you want to buy a console, you can, but you don't have to.
And how easy is it going to be to put a game like Sonic on your phone and play it and it actually look good? That's going to take, it's going to be so easy just because it's such an old school game.
Yeah.
But hey,
Also-
moving on to the next, go ahead.
Sorry, Kalala, you were saying PlayStation would think about how they can partner up with Sega. Specifically, Sony don't have to think about how they can partner up with Sega, because Sony have the most exclusives with Sega or from Sega.
So who
So-
filed the SEC complaint?
The SEC complaint. No.
Who's
That was just a confusion. That was just a confusion about the whole partnership versus buying thing. The complaint was made by people that misunderstood the partnership between Microsoft and Sega. Everyone just jumped to the extreme of Microsoft are essentially buying Sega. That's not what's happening.
Not even close.
Not even close. That's not what's happening.
They're
So
collaborating.
most, yeah.
Yes, yes,
and
like
they're
making
not
a
even
track.
collaborating. They're not even collaborating for like games for Sega to bring games to.
No,
to
they're
Microsoft.
collaborating
That's
with
not even the
Microsoft,
collaboration.
not Xbox. They're collaborating
Not
with
Xbox
Microsoft.
specifically.
Okay.
Exactly. So
Okay.
as far as Sony trying to create a partnership with Sega, there's really no need. I mean, Sony and Sega, they've seen
Are
each
one.
other naked, very close. Okay, these guys, they're homeboys. Don't worry about that.
Hey, if you watch the past show, the Console Wars movie, then you know that they got ties. They've had
Oh, yeah.
ties for a
Oh, yeah.
long time.
These guys are related. They're like first cousins, not third or fourth. First cousins. Their mamas grew up together, so it's fine. Don't worry.
Well, I'm really glad that you explained that, because sometimes you lose track of who was the parent, or how things blossomed. So, you guys, listen, Xbox Game Pass, good for the gaming industry long term. I think this is a great topic to step into on the tail end of the last conversation. How do you see Xbox Game Pass, Microsoft impacting the future of gaming?
I want to go first on this one.
Yeah, Loke.
Is that fine?
Absolutely.
Listen, first off, there's a lot of people speculating, talking about this is not good for the gaming industry. Listen, until you can show me leaked documents showing the supposed losses that Microsoft is making, I need you to shut up. Okay? If you don't have those documents, then you ain't got nothing. What you have is your opinion, which is fine. You can have your opinion, but if there's people out there talking as if they've sat in the boardroom with Microsoft and Xbox financial managers, and they've seen the spreadsheet. Like, guys, we are losing billions every day because of Game Pass.
But why does that matter at all? I mean, you have companies like Uber Freight doing the exact same thing and undercutting just to gain market share. Is that what they're concerned about? That they're cutting losses to gain market share?
For me, the long-term strategy doesn't even matter in this context that I'm trying to explain. What I'm trying to explain is that don't bring up a point if you don't have evidence, especially a point that needs evidence. You know, this is not one of those points that you can leave out as an abstract. You're talking about a company making losses. You cannot prove that this company is making losses because no one knows how much Microsoft paid Sega for the Yakuza games. No one knows. It's all speculation. Until we know, even after we know, we still don't know how much they've paid for every one of those games on Game Pass.
They're probably not paying for anything, Loke. They're probably doing it in service in exchange for service. If Sega purchases SQL Server and has the Azure and pays, annually, some of those databases subscriptions cost tens of thousands of dollars annually just to use the service. I'm sure there's some swap of service. They're probably not paying for anything.
Probably. What I want to get across is, can everyone stop pretending they've been in those meetings? That's all I'm saying. Can everyone just stop and just admit, guys, you have no idea how much Microsoft is putting in and how much they're getting out. You don't know that. Shut up about this. There's 10 million people on Game Pass. There's 15 million. You don't know. Shut up. Okay. As for whether or not Game Pass is good for the future of gaming, I think it's too soon to say yes or no. Game Pass was introduced in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. It's not even 10 years old. This is one of those long-term trends. Remember how when social media started, people didn't even know what it was, It's still evolving today. People are still trying to figure out what the hell social media is. Mm-hmm. Game Pass, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all these subscription services. The truth is, we won't really know their proper long-term impact, maybe until they have at least 10 years or 15 years. And then we can start projecting like, okay, these are the trends that we're noticing. Is game quality going down or is it going up? Is it maintaining regardless of whether it's a subscription service or not? And then you've got this whole model that Forza brought in, where guys like Ham Solo making sure Forza has already made over $90 million before the official launch. Okay, and this is a game that's coming to Game Pass. Mm-hmm. People are still like, no, I'm not waiting 4 days, I'm paying now. So all these trends and new ideas are going to get put into Game Pass. We're so far away from knowing the long-term ramifications of it. I don't even want to speculate on whether it's a good or bad thing, but for the purposes of the show, I will speculate, and I will admit, unlike most people when they talk about this, it's speculation. It's guessing. And I'm guessing this is going to be good for gaming because I think Microsoft likes money. Microsoft have a tendency to do what Google does, which is they touch on lots of things, and whatever doesn't work, they just drop it. They've got lots of little projects. As soon as it's bad, then they drop and drop and drop. They just focus on the analytics, and something is telling them to keep going. down this path of Xbox Game Pass. So based on their track record, I'm going to speculate that this is good for the future of gaming.
Yep. Let's not act like a multi-trillion-dollar company just has no idea what they're doing.
Let's just throwing shit on the wall.
Yeah. Let's not act like. I mean, yes, a multi-trillion-dollar company is gonna throw some shit at the wall, but they're not gonna pour and pour and pour and
unless
pour
something is
money
sticking.
into something.
Unless it's sticking.
Yeah, unless they're seeing something positive come out of it. And my whole thought process of it is a lot of people are like, man, Game Pass isn't that great. Game Pass is full of fodder. Game Pass is this. Game Pass is that. I feel like people have a real short memory. Does anybody remember how dope Netflix was when it first came out? They almost got bought by Blockbuster. That's how dope they were. They weren't that great.
Yeah.
They weren't that good. Amazon Prime wasn't that great. They had to really go out of their way to get subscribers.
Yeah.
Like, you got to think, these are massive companies. The first, like, I'd say like almost the first like 5 years, they know they're going to lose a shit ton of money. They're just promoting and hoping that they get these big people to look at them, while also getting the majority of the population understanding even what they are. Because for years of a membership service kind of thing, you're coming in cold. People don't know who you are. They don't know what you stand for. They don't know what you got. So the first thing you're going to do is look at it and be like, this doesn't seem that worth it. And then you're gonna start looking around and being like, "Man, this motherfucker is good." I mean, like think about Amazon Prime, for instance. You look around, and you're like, "Man, I don't need no Amazon Prime." And then you got your friend that said, "Hey, man, I got Amazon Prime. I'm watching the show on it right now." And you're like, "Oh, that's cool. I still don't need it." "Oh man, I got Amazon Prime. I'm watching the TV show and I'm getting the package sent in for free." And then you're like, "Wait a second, I just paid shipping for my last thing." And I'm always using Amazon. So, I mean, like, it's that kind of mindset, and it takes a while for it to shift in somebody's mind for them to go into this purchase as this is a reasonable choice. This is something I actually need. Sometimes it takes a couple days. Sometimes it takes 5 years to come around, and sometimes even longer than that to come around and be like, hey, this is actually beneficial, and I've been wasting a lot of time.
I've got a question for both of you guys. I'm hearing overall that you think this is a good thing. But, the more that I'm putting together some of the words, the buzzwords, SEC, Microsfft, Google, you think about these companies who have access, social media, Facebook comes to mind, and all of their struggles with managing that information and how to use it appropriately. Here's my question. With all of the hours of recording video gameplay, particularly on games that allow you to roam the world and do whatever you want freely, all of the audio, all of the communications and the chats and the text communications, do you think that information once together? Well, here's my thought, because you look at how this information impacts the greater good of the community, right? And we've already seen how Facebook has been used against people to fight crime. And I say used against people, but I would go to say that in a lot of cases, this is good information, to find on social media and to pick out and to send cops that way. But my point being is, like, for Microsfft to have so much data, to have so much information, and now that information is not local on your Xbox, it's not in your home, it's not your personal IP, your personal information, it's now in the cloud and available to be used. How? Are there any terms or conditions or conversations that came up on the security of that information? I think it's interesting. I mean, not that many people are doing.
No, I see what you're going with that. You're saying more of it, like, Like you're saying, is this good as a whole, not just for video games? Is this safe long term? Does this have any like dotted lines that you need to sign and stuff like that? Like, and to answer your question, yeah. So like when you do go into like these services and whatnot, like each video game, for instance, you go to play Back for Blood, it flat out tells you, hey, we're using your chat. Like it has to warn you, and it's going to warn you on every single part of it.
And
so
see,
it's still your choice at the end of the day. You know what you're signing up into. You know what kind of you do.
How many people read that? How many people read that?
It's still your it's still your choice.
They're
it's
just
still
saying,
your choice,
I just paid $500 for my Xbox. I just paid $60 for this game. I just paid $80 for my customized remote. I don't care what they want from me. I'm just going to say, yes, I want to play. And that's what people have done on social media too. And that's why we're in the situation and the predicament that we're in, is that, you know, people just willy-nilly say, yeah, you can use my chat information, you can use my camera, you can use my audio, until something happens and it comes crashing down. And then everyone's like, oh, we didn't know that you were listening to us when we were talking about XYZ. We didn't know you were watching us when we were doing XYZ. But remember when you accepted those terms and conditions to play Forza? Well, but let me say whose fault that is. That the fault lies on the Microsofts of the world. They should have the foresight to know that it's unfair to force people into accepting those terms and conditions in order to use something they've already bought. They need to be very forthcoming upfront, saying, hey, these are, I don't know, I just think it needs to be a little bit more of a conversation ahead of the times rather than after it's all said and done.
The thing for me is that we are in a data gathering what is it, ecosystem. The whole thing works on data gathering for advertisers, for political parties, etc. The whole thing runs on the whole thing runs on data gathering. And for me, I just think the question of security, it's a real thing, but I think we also have to kind of bite the bullet because of how far we already are into it. I would rather take a view of, let's work around the issues that we find as we go along, instead of stop everything, let's redo this thing, let's rejig this thing right now. We're halfway through, or we're already in the middle of it, and we're like, let's stop and rethink the whole thing. Personally, I agree with you, Kalela. The truth is, no one reads the damn terms and conditions. I don't. I would if I got paid to do it. That's why you have weird articles pop up on Kotaku or Game Rant or whatever, where there's people that are paid to read the terms and conditions and they find something obscene on it and then they put it on a headline. That's the only way we find out about these things. Otherwise, we've all signed off our livers, our hearts, our spines to these companies. You know, we've all given this stuff up, and then you've got phones. I mean, the fingerprint thing, they've got your fingers, they've got your eyes, and it's kind of too late. That's how I see it. I was speaking to my cousin who works in IT, and he was talking about that. It was like, dude, people are talking about, you've got people complaining about, oh, they want to chip us, they want to put chips in us. Like, dude, have you seen your phone? Have you seen what your phone can do? It's over. They know how many times you go to the toilet. They know your favorite porn actress or actor. They know your favorite type of ice cream. They know everything.
They know your guilty pleasure. They do, and they're tying it into what you're watching on Netflix, what you're watching on Hulu, what you're buying on Amazon.
Yes. So specifically, my point of view is the only way to move forward with this specifically, unfortunately, is to let someone be a victim. So, for example, Xbox is going to have to use someone's data irresponsibly, and then it's going to have to become news, and then there's going to be an outcry, and then there's going to be legislation, and then Microsoft's going to roll back some stuff, and then they're going to fix that specifically. But to say that there's going to be a proper rollback of gathering of data,
I don't know.
I
The
don't see
EU
that.
is all over it. I mean, EU, they've really rolled out some
No,
really
the EU's been
laws.
all over ending world hunger since forever. And then one of their big heads says 2% of Elon Musk's money can solve world hunger. Elon Musk says,
I was laughing about
yeah,
that.
Yeah, Elon Musk says, no problem, man. I'll give you guys 5% of my money.
Show me your receipts.
Show me how y'all are gonna do that, and make sure everyone else can see it. And then it stops. I'm sorry, Kalela. I'm not trying to say I'm a big conspiracy nut, but this whole idea of, oh yeah, this government structure is gonna solve that problem.
Oh no,
As
I don't
time
know that
goes
it'll
by,
solve it. All I'm saying is that they're definitely very they are running the forefront of personal, they are protecting people's rights and looking at it from for what it is. They have the GDPR that they rolled out with a couple of years ago, and it basically governs, it puts the power of data of whether it be your eyeball scan or your fingerprints or whatever information they've ever collected from day one. It puts the power back into your hands to say, Microsoft, I know that you've collected this information on me. I'm sending a formal written request that you delete all of my biometrics that you have saved, all of my personal information that you have saved. I want you to get rid of that information. And they are held accountable. Companies are held accountable to go through their files and to literally destroy all of that information. It is the one saving grace that the UK has put out in a time where
held accountable. How are they held accountable? There's no backup servers. The EU knows every single one of Microsoft's computers. They know everything.
So you have to set a precedent. So until you stand up and say, it's not okay for you to collect my information, to use my information however you want, I am in control of my information, there's no legal precedent for you to stand on when you do become a victim. So what I'm saying is that the UK is very proactive in ensuring that there's not going to be a victim in this situation. I guess it kind of puts a lot of liability on the person to do that, instead of, like you said, just letting it ride like the US does. And if something happens, then you set the precedent. I don't know.
Listen,
UK and US are complete opposites. You know, one says
no
what you
offense
can't
to the
do.
UK. No offense to the UK or the European Union, but I'm just saying, right? If I'm Microsoft and then the UK wants to monitor my systems, and I don't want them to have access to all my files, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a tech whiz, but I can see that it wouldn't be that hard to obfuscate a random warehouse in Nebraska and then put all the backups there. How is the UK gonna find that, for example?
I don't know. I think that there's some really smart people out there who, you know, they understand what companies can or are willing to do. I don't know. I'll like to see how it plays out, because I, for one, Ham can attest to this, I'm always constantly cautious about what I share on social media, what I'm saying on a recording, where, you know, what you're putting on your credit card. If you can pay, you know, like, you have to be conscious about this, because if you're not, then you could be that victim. And I don't know. I just think it's a little bit that's con to the pro of
it
all of
matters.
the cloud storage.
The whole thing matters. Like the issue matters, but I think we disagree on how to solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to the next question. Left 4 Dead has more players than Back 4 Blood. I don't know. That seems very.
Yep.
You take it. You take it. You played Back 4 Blood. So.
Oh man, yeah. I didn't like. The game was pretty good, but it was. I feel like a lot of people are playing Left 4 Dead still because of the nostalgia factor, and they just kind of understand it already, and they don't want to start all
So
over.
you're saying
with
Back 4 Blood is objectively better?
What? Say that again.
Are you saying that Back 4 Blood is objectively better?
I personally thought it was better, but there's a lot of people that don't have new consoles, and they don't want to like play a new game with it looking just like Left 4 Dead. You know what I'm saying?
No. All these Forza purchases on Steam tell me otherwise.
Oh well, if it's on PC, like there ain't nothing you can do about it, bro.
Left 4 Dead's on PC. Back 4 Blood's on PC, brother.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised then. I really don't have. I really don't have any thoughts on it because I don't play these games I don't play Left 4 Dead that much, and I definitely don't play Back 4 Blood that much. Neither one of those are my type of game. So, am I surprised? Am I shocked? Am I like blown away? Not really on any of them because I really don't care.
Okay, I'm shocked because Back 4 Blood should be objectively better than Left 4 Dead. It's just a reskin. They took Left 4 Dead and they brought it to 2021 in terms of graphics, performance, everything. For some reason, no one is playing it. Everyone, like Back 4 Blood, when it launched, most of the players from Left 4 Dead jumped to Back 4 Blood, and it exploded. Then the servers couldn't handle it, etc., etc. People jumped back, and then we all assumed that with the patch for Back 4 Blood, people jump back in. Nothing. People just keep on going back to Left 4 Dead. I think this is such a curious phenomenon because everyone kept claiming the only reason Left 4 Dead is still alive after all these years. It's been more than a decade, hasn't it?
Yeah.
After
easily.
all these years. Yeah, after all these years, Left 4 Dead is still alive with thousands of people playing it every single day. If they would just make a new Left 4 Dead, people would then jump to that. But for some reason, nothing. I think it's a phenomenon worth studying.
I also kind of feel like it could
reason.
it could possibly be a price thing as well. Left 4 Dead is way cheaper than Back 4 Blood is. So like having a player base and inviting people and having people playing on that is a lot easier, especially if you're trying to say, hey, I have a brand new version of the same game. They're just kind of like, well, I already got a PC and it's mega powerful. I'm just gonna stick to this.
No. Yeah, I think it's something people were gonna have to study it like 2 or 3 years from now. It's very weird.
I feel like the older Back 4 Blood may get, the more people will start to jump into that. Because it's kind of the same thing for Left 4 Dead. You think of Left 4 Dead back when it came out, it wasn't the biggest game of all time. It wasn't anything like that. So I think if you give it some time, people are gonna start looking at Left 4 Dead and being like, dude, this looks dated. And people are gonna start saying, I'd rather play Back 4 Blood because it doesn't look as bad. Especially for console. I'm saying.
It's still funny as hell though.
Oh, it's pretty bad. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
That does not look good at all.
Not a good
Damn. When these numbers came out, I'm just trying to imagine the guys at the office for Back 4 Blood when they go in for their weekly meeting. Someone must have been losing their minds, smashing shit around. Oh my god!
Somebody worked their ass off for years just to see the old game.
Dude,
yikes!
I wish I was a fly in that room just to watch the reactions. It is not a good look.
Anyways, what's next?
I just have one more question for you guys. Games with gold service, is it worth the money? Ham, I mean, what do you think?
Well, seeing that you can talk to people on Xbox Live without having gold, it kind of kills gold. Like, what's kind of the point of it other than getting a couple free mid games? Every once in a while. And I guess the best thing about gold that you kind of still have to have is if you want, like my buddy Justin wanted to play Far Cry 6 with me, but he didn't have Game Pass and his gold had just expired. So he couldn't play Far Cry with me until he bought it again. But he ended up just getting Game Pass, which is like the thing now, because you can get Game Pass for $10 a month. You get Xbox Live Gold for like $10 a month. So it's like, you know, like why would you go back to gold if you can get video games for the same price and be able to keep up with your friends and whatnot? So Xbox Live Gold is dying, and they are purposely killing it. They're just wondering when they're gonna twist the sword and end it for good.
I hope they do it like
we all want it to be over. I mean, there's really nothing beneficial.
Just leave it alone, man. And if you don't want to kill it and you still want people to pay money for it or whatever, just take out the, how do you say it? Take out the chaff, you know? Like, instead of releasing 4 games, 2 360s and 2 current gens, just release 2 games, you know? One very good current gen game and one very good 360 game, and leave it at that. That's fine, because the last few months since January, it has been horrible. It's been embarrassing to, and I've been like, because I'm a masochist, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna make it a point to download every single one of the games with gold games and give them a try, and it has been just terrible. Like, let me give you an example. August, they released Darksiders 3. That was a good game. Then in the same month, they released Yooka-Laylee, Lost Planet 3, and Mark of the Wolves. Those are nothing games. September, they released Warhammer, Chaos Bane, Mulaka. Those are whatever games. The other 2 games, Zone of the Enders and Showdown, Samurai Showdown, good games. October, they released Aero, Hover, Castlevania, Harmony of Despair, nothing games, and then Resident Evil Code Veronica, good game.
Old game.
It's still a good game.
I played that game, yeah.
This month, they released Moving Out, Deadlands, Rocket Knight, Lego Batman. Nothing games. All in all, from August to November...
Moving Out was fun. I liked Moving Out.
Man, would you sit down? All in all, from August to November, they released 20 games. 4 good games. So that's 20%, That's 20%. Of games that are released on gold. As far as I'm concerned, 20% of them are good. So what are you doing? Just stop wasting our time.
Fair enough.
That's all I have to say. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I think they really just need to just go on ahead and put a pin in it. Put a pin in it. Maybe go out with a bang. I think maybe this 20th anniversary would be like the perfect time to put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Because then they can say, hey, we are moving on. We're done with this.
Put
all
live
of the services that were in this are now
Game Pass.
This. If you want, you know, this is your last chance to get like best, gaming for your money right now before we completely cut it off. You know, like if you're gonna kill it in style, man. Make it look good. Make have it like when Jordan or people would come out from after hitting a home run and it's their last home run of their career and they wave their hat up like thanking the crowd. Like send it off nicely, but for goodness sake, send it off.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Even if they don't know how to send it off nicely, just do it.
Yeah,
just do it.
I would be interested to know how many people are still on it, because it's been out for longer than a year, and usually the subscription's up at the end of a year. So if you haven't made the switch, what are you doing?
No, what happens is a lot of people are on Game Pass Ultimate. Game Pass Ultimate gives you gold and live as well. So that's how there are still people subscribed to gold. But
That's what I'm
fact
saying.
is,
Why? It's the same price from what Ham was saying. If you haven't made the switch, it doesn't make sense.
Well, like, see, a lot of people are nervous to make the switch and they're satisfied with gold. What Xbox is trying to say is, hey, we're done with gold. What I'm trying to say is quit tippy-toeing around and just
kill
yank it out, because then you'll see who your true player base is, and you'll see those people start to scrape around being like, oh crap, I don't have gold anymore. Like, I gotta have something. I gotta, be able to, game with my buddies. I gotta get Game Pass.
But another issue that could be delaying them moving on from gold is basically the deal with gold is all the games that you got from gold are yours as long as you are subscribed to gold.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably thinking, okay, if we cancel gold, what happens to Loke 7, who has 150 games on gold? Do those games automatically just become his, or do we take them away? And if we leave them as his, how do we deal with the publishers? Because they didn't buy those games.
Right.
It's that big what if the company closes scenario. You buy something and you get the warranty, the lifetime warranty, but how long is this company going to be around? It's one of those conundrums. You bought all these games on gold, and now this idea that gold may not be around next year or the year after, and you start sweating like, okay, it's not really fair to take away my games. So what you gonna do? Maybe they'll just migrate them over, or
the issue. I think the pressure that they're probably facing, I think this is like internal pressure. This is me just guessing. The pressure they're facing is that Microsoft has been so pro-consumer on the Xbox side for years now, and it might be very costly for them to cut gold and also let people keep the games. That might be difficult for them, and I think that's what's making them be like, you know what, let's deal with this next year. No, maybe move it to next year.
Because I imagine if they can't just give everyone the games that they have on gold, then the question becomes, if we take it away, do we owe them any reparations or money for the games that they purchased that we no longer service? And if so, are they devaluating the game now that it's 10 years old? Or do you devalue it on the $60 that it cost 10 years ago and now it's not worth anything? Or what do you do?
The issue with the Xbox gamers, at least that I've noticed, man, they're salty. Like, from my point of view, PlayStation gamers are salty towards anyone that's not in PlayStation ecosystem. Xbox gamers are very salty towards their own ecosystem. Like, I don't think they would hesitate to turn around and bite Microsoft, because if they did that, I think they would make Microsoft feel it. If they decided, you know what, we're taking all your games with gold, that would be a problem, I think, to the players on the platform.
All of them will become PS fanboys, is what you're saying?
No, that's not. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen.
What I've noticed in like the Xbox community is a lot of people want to like if they're on the fence or starting to get mad at Microsoft, they like to kind of take that approach of, I don't have to be here, I could totally just go over there. Right. I don't need to be here.
Oh
right
yeah,
right.
So that's like
you're not buying.
If you don't like it, move out of the country. We've heard that before.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, the thing is with social media plus gaming plus growth of a company that's kind of went up and down, people feel like they have the audacity and the and the resources behind them when really they don't really have anybody behind them.
No.
But they think they have all this built up community behind them to be like, you know what? If you guys don't, say what I want you to say, or if you guys don't drop it the way I want you to drop it, or if you guys don't, acquire this, that, and the third, I'm gonna go where it, greatness lies, or something like that. Like
the whole Forza thing, dude. You were banging on about it not being an issue for you yesterday. But I've seen a lot of people are very upset about the Forza thing. A lot of people that have like Xbox on their profile pictures, and they are really mad. Talking about, I'm gonna unsubscribe from Game Pass and I'll just buy like 1 or 2 games from Xbox. Like I'll buy Halo and stuff, but I'm done with this because of what happened with Forza. This is a big issue in the community.
Well, I can tell you this right now. Microsfft is not going to stop doing this kind of stuff. They got way too much money from this.
From this,
but
yeah.
Do they want to set the precedent though?
I think
they do.
I think that it's okay, in my opinion. Like, hey, man, like, if you really want this game that bad, why are you waiting for Game Pass? That's my way of looking at it. Is like, hey, man, you want this game that bad, but you're gonna, and you know it's gonna come out at this point. I can I can understand being jealous and being like, hey, I can't afford it this month, and it sucks. Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it. Yeah, it does suck if you can't, run out and go buy it right now. But hey, if you can afford it, and this is your so-called favorite game, and you just can't live without it, I think it is fair for a company to say, hey, you know what? For our fans that are devoted to us, that really love us, you guys can play it early if you're willing to purchase it, if you're willing to go through this. They got about 1 million players online playing, or 1 million people to purchase it. I'm not even sure if it's up to 1 million, but they got 1 million people playing at least, because I heard something about like cracking the code and getting in there for free if you're on PC. And to me, when I hear stuff like that, it's like what 50,000, maybe 100,000 people out of 1 million. Like, get the hell out of here with that with that argument. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, like, if you have people that are willing to pay this kind of money as a business, it's a bad idea to say, you know what, we're not ever gonna do that again, because they're just leaving money on the table. If I was, Forza 6, Forza 6, I would do it again. I'd do it again, because you know what? If you're that devoted for my game, if you love my game this much, then you'll get it. Flat out.
If they did it for Halo, I'm sure they made even more money.
And I like your point, Cam.
I feel Halo is in a different barrel though, which is weird. I feel
you don't think people would pay for Halo?
Is Halo on gold?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I feel like I feel like Halo is such a album cover for Xbox that I don't think they could do something like Forza did.
I think
where they have it early for. But then again, that's what the tech test was. What's the difference? Yeah. If you really want to play Halo, sign up for the tech test. A lot of people didn't, and a lot of people were jealous.
I wasn't jealous.
Well, sure, but you're not a big multiplayer kind of person. But what I'm saying is, like, my cousin. My cousin was super jealous. Oh man, you're playing Halo. He hopped in the party, listened to us having a good time, and jumped out of it because he is pissed.
And if they had an hour of the campaign, I would have signed up.
Yeah, but that's different. They don't want to give up. They don't want to give up that kind of dope information, especially after the tragedy that was of last year when they showed some stuff and nobody liked it.
I was right.
Yeah, that's like a preview to your favorite season. But I really liked what you said, Ham. I do think that, with this whole idea that gold might be going away, and this is a new precedent to be set. It might just be as simple as people getting mad and unsubscribing from Game Pass for a couple of months, but they'll be back. How many times did people
Probably.
get mad
Yep.
at Netflix for a video that they released and they were sick because, you know, oh, the morals of this show and Netflix, goodbye Netflix. And then they were back a few months later. And that's just the nature of subscription. People get mad, they cut you off for a few months, but they'll be back. And really what it's going to lead to are new cyclical trends, new seasonalities, and each company is going to be different based off of what they're releasing, when they're releasing it. And Loke, I do think that it's going to become more and more important when they drop games, because one thing I know in retail, timing is everything, and you've got to get it timed right, particularly when you're looking towards a subscription-based society and community and way people are buying. Decisions are being made yesterday on what they're going to be buying tomorrow, and if they don't know what's coming tomorrow, you're going to miss the boat, you know, because they're going to drop their money somewhere else. So you've got to be very forthcoming and transparent. And like Ham said, I definitely agree with you, Ham. You know, Xbox fans are going to have to ride with Xbox through this uncomfortable transition, because as lame as it might be that you lose games, maybe there's some saving, maybe they come out with coupons to buy hard copies, or figure out some creative way to keep your games around.
Hard copies won't be a thing, but maybe digital. Yeah. I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like they're gonna have to figure out some way to like
remunerate everyone.
Yeah. Like, hey, we're giving you like you got 40 games on your, you know, Xbox games with gold. Here's a voucher of 20 games. Pick out your favorite ones and we'll heavily discount the rest, or something like that.
Yeah, something creative, because the reality is in most businesses, 20% of Xbox's customers are probably contributing to 80% of their income, because those are the diehard gamers who are buying every single thing that they release. They're riding with them thick and thin. It doesn't matter what they lose, they're coming out on top because they're rolling with it. They're diehard fans, and that's the reality of it. The other 80% of people who have the 20% of Xbox's income, they're going to be the ones that get mad and leave for a couple months, but it's all going to come out in the wash. They'll be back. They will. The subscription services, how many times do you tell yourself, oh, I'm done with Hulu, let me cancel it, and then they say, guess what, we're releasing this new show come October, and you're like, I'm getting the subscription in October.
Or yeah, the sequel is coming back.
And then what happens? You know, you resubscribe so you can watch the show or you can play the game, and then you get sucked back in and you just don't cancel it. And then you've got another 6 months that you paid them again, you know, so they're going to make theirs. It's going to be okay. But there's going to be some.
And before you end the show, I'm going to say something real quick. I really think it's funny, the people that will buy a crap ton of the like $10 memberships or like yearly memberships and whatnot, and then switch them over to Game Pass, and then they're like, I'm sticking it to Microsoft. And it's like, you are not. In fact, you are invested in Microsoft now, buddy.
Oh my God.
And you just, you paid a ton of money just now, and Microsoft ain't mad. Microsoft ain't mad. So I think it's really funny that you use that as an excuse.
This week, but next year
you didn't make it for free. You didn't get it for free. That's all Microsoft cares, man. That's all they care about.
You bought in. But anyways,
that's all.
Yeah. And you guys, I really thank you for your time. It was a great conversation today. Let's definitely get back together soon. Everyone listening, we will definitely drop some of those links we talked about in the description below. And until next time, have fun playing those games.
Ciao.
See you later, y'all.